We talk about living this life on your terms, fulfilling your business dreams, moving abroad, founding your own companies, and the daily struggle this brings with it. But also why it's all worth it, and why this life is going to be your dream life. Welcome to Maria Unleashed. Enjoy the episode. All right, welcome back to my podcast. So I just really had the feeling to record an episode on traveling. So I'm going to tell you how this really helps me to not just get to know me better, but also sometimes when you're so close to a situation or sometimes you're just too close, even to a person or to just like in general. I mean, so many people these days are like really questioning their lifestyle and their choices. And they're like, how did I end up here? But, while you are sitting in the puddle of mud, it's really, really hard to see the bigger picture and to, just see clearly. So for me, one of the biggest, most amazing opportunities in that, situation is usually to pack a rucksack and just go traveling. Go somewhere, I don't even have a plan. Like I love planning on one hand and especially, very strategic as well. And for business, that's beautiful. It's a beautiful gift to have. But I have learned along the way to really let go. When I visit like foreign new worlds, I just let go and I let kind of life just guide me. I go with the flow and I just see what happens. And this, presents me usually with great and incredible and crazy opportunities. The people I meet are just like, you couldn't even make that shit up. It's crazy and I love it so much. But most importantly, so when I grew up, I grew up in Germany, like 2 hours away from Berlin, very small village. And I didn't know anyone who was doing what I'm doing now. Okay, so it was very set into after school, you are supposed to do this and that, and then you buy a house, and then you get married, and then you have kids, and then you are basically done. That's your life. Just a quick update. I just launched 2 new online workshops, my Holistic Skincare Masterclass and my Expert Class. I will share my profound knowledge, my ready-to-buy shopping list, my suppliers list, and so much more with you. If you are ready for the last skincare moisturizer you will ever need, tailored to you and to your ever-changing needs, this online workshop will liberate you from the cycle of the beauty industry. Head over to greenplanetcosmetics.com/workshops. I will link everything below, and if this resonates with you, you can find all the details on my website. And now, back to the episode. So it's just, good thing, I barely listened to that because, it didn't catch me at all. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, but that's definitely not my life. But also, when they were trying to convince me that something is wrong with me for having a different outlook on the world, I just didn't believe them. That's what I do. I just don't believe them. I'm like, okay. And in my head, I'm just like, dreaming. I'm a big, 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 big dreamer. And when I mean, I can feel the music, or I have a feeling to really do it now, or do this and this and that. I mean that literally. Like really, when I am just like, I had to also escape in my head because I found my life so boring. Like it was so how I did not want to, I didn't want that to be my life. And I knew that very early on. So about what I did, and I didn't do it on purpose, it literally just happens. I daydream. And I go to places and I do everything I want to do and I dream big, and it literally gives me goosebumps. And that is usually when I know, okay, so maybe it's worth looking into that. Traveling is the same. Like I started traveling pretty much just because I wanted to go to England to learn English. There was a big goal after school for me. It was the most important to really just learn the language. I'm going to give you a quick story on that, how that actually happened. So again, growing up on this side of Germany and all my family, they never really experienced, there was no traveling. So that was the GDR side of Germany. And, the Russians basically kind of dictated what was going on. So none of my family, was allowed to, or none of my family members were allowed to travel or to just move to foreign places or to say, hey, I want to go to England and learn English, or hey, to Paris and learn French. Wasn't possible. So I couldn't ever ask anyone, and I did never hear anyone speak a different language, like fluently. I like to the date when I actually arrived in London, I hadn't heard one person. I had heard one person before, but other than that, you don't hear any, mother tongues or anything. You don't have anything exotic happening. So when I was a little girl, I was like, I don't know, I would say like 10 years old. Yeah, like más o menos. I don't know, maybe I was 8 or 10, I don't know. Okay, my dad, he was self-employed at the time, and he took me to one of his clients, and I was just like, hey, it's going to be quick, but here, take a little play, whatever, and then just, if you don't mind, you can come up or you can stay and wait here and so on. I'm like, no, I want to come. So I sat there and just, waited for my dad to finish his consultation, and the client's daughter came in. And she was just like a few years older, but then when you are like 10 years old, like a 16-year-old is like super cool. And it's like, oh my God. And she came in and she started talking in a different language to him. And so she was pissed off, and then with him, so she wouldn't speak his language, she just swapped to a different language and was like going off in a different language. And I'm like, damn, that's cool. Like, I was shook. And that was it. From that day on, I knew I want to learn a different language. And when my parents piss me off, I'm going to start talking in a different language. Yes. And so, this little teeny tiny incident. And it was really nothing. But for me, it was core shaking, ridiculous. And that stuck with me forever. So I knew when I promised that to myself, when I'm, done with school and when I'm allowed to leave, I'm going to go and I'm going to learn a different language. And for me, it was English. I always wanted to learn English because I knew I wanted to explore the world and I needed to know and speak English. So just to give you an idea, right? But when the time came, finished school and everything, ready to go, and my parents didn't like that idea at all. For them, it was unheard of because no one does that. No one ever did it. They don't know anyone who, is going abroad and whatnot. And again, it was this typical, no, after school you have to do this and this and that. And then I was like, no, I'm going to a foreign country and I learn a new language. And like, why do you want to learn that? Well, how is that going to help you? Because in their world, it was just not happening, you have to imagine that. And I'm like, but this is important. Like, I need to, what do you want from me? Like, what? Your daughter is going abroad to learn a new skill, a new language, to have some experience. And for them, it was just the most ridiculous idea ever. I mean, thinking about it now is actually ridiculous. So they tried everything to stop me, and they made it very clear from the beginning that I have to take care of the financial side of that. So I have to organize it myself. If I want to do it, I have to get the cash. So they don't want to support me because it's a stupid idea. It makes no sense. They want me to go and start a job. Like, even studying was not an option. Like, go and make money. So that was important. That's what they knew, that's how they were brought up. But yeah, as I said, I'm not really, they made me cry many times, to be honest. So I did, obviously hear it, and I tried to I knew, like, I have to stop listening to these people because they're just pulling me down, and I love them very much. My parents are awesome. It's just, it happens that with my lifestyle choices, and especially the job choices, they have never been very happy. Oh, well, what can I say? I'm not living my life for my parents. I'm not living my life for my grandparents. I'm not living my life for my neighbor, and I'm most definitely not living my life for the guy at the bus stop. No. So, I knew that from the very early beginning, I knew that, and no one could hold me back. But it was not easy still, because they tried, you guys. They tried. Yet here I am in London, first time away from home, and I really had to deal with I didn't even understand them. The British and the accent, and I'm like, what's going on? First time hearing this, I'm like, holy shit, what's going on? So what an experience. And just like when I was 10 years old, this experience really stuck with me. And I realized, wow, like suddenly I couldn't just go on autopilot, I had to be awake. I really had to oh, okay, like even just listening to people, trying to understand it, understanding different accents, because also London is a melting pot of different cultures and languages. So just trying to understand, this new language, and then also the new cultures. And again, depending on whom you're with, it's so different, but so exciting. And it was just a very, very incredible experience. But yeah, again, it really taught me to be awake every day, stop daydreaming so much, or like daydreaming I'm still doing, but I'm not so much on autopilot like I used to be, because you really have to be like on your feet. Like, oh, what's happening? What's that? What's this? Oh, and you actually have to actively listen to people to understand them. And you also have to think about what you want to say, so everything is way more conscious. And I loved that. Great experience again. Also, I really loved, to see my progress, because that shows quite quickly. But I also came to points where I was just like, life really brought me to my knees, and I'm like, damn, like, but still, you get up again and you keep going. And, then you get rewarded. And if you haven't learned your lesson, you're going to go an extra round, and that's literally what it is. And because I was so young, I was 19 or just 20 years old when I started doing this, that's basically how I got released into the world and how I really learned to trust myself. So that's another one, you really have to also learn to trust your gut, your feeling, and because you're on your own. And also my parents still don't speak the language. So it's like, that's what my dad always said as well. Like, listen, I can try to help you, but you are out there now and you are on your own. Like, figure it out. And I always do. Sometimes it takes a little longer. Sometimes it's not the way I wanted to, but, or I intended to, but in the end, you just have to really find a solution. So, again, you learn so many new things about you. You get to know you. You also see the ugly side, or the weak spots you have. And instead of looking away, I really like to just say, oh, okay, hi there. Yeah, I see you. And then I, instead of shaming myself or trying to hide it or to tuck it away, I look at it and I'm like, okay, I actually like, this situation I'm in. I'm definitely going to come back at some point. I want to work here as well, So I knew that's not the last destination. I'm so going to travel the world. So I need, a different type of skill set than maybe my parents. So, and I also knew I really had to work on myself. I had to, first of all, kind of train the skills I already have, like make them stronger, expand them, then also, get a complete new skill set, and also learn to stand on my own feet. And also, how do you behave when shit hits the fan? To get up again and try again. And just, so this constant learning, and also like at some point, it's quite normal. So I don't stress out anymore when stuff, the shit actually hits the fan, and it happens all the time. So instead of just trying the shit not to hit the fan anymore, for me, it's more like, okay, how can I actually, because that is outside, I can't control that. And I learned that also very early on, and it's annoying. In the beginning, I tried to just like, whatever, no, I'm just gonna fight against that. No, you have to start with yourself. And it's really more about how do you react to that situation, and how can I get myself new skills. At the moment, I'm mastering the skill of meditation. Holy shit, man, I've been trying for over a decade now. And now it finally stuck. Like, I am now in this, I don't know what it is, but now, I don't know, it's happening. And it really just saved my ass, because I'm having a situation here as well. We are just trying to figure out where to go next. So right now, the living situation I'm in is pretty shitty. And I only get 6-month contracts for the flat. And then you never know, are you going to get it, extended or not, and what. So I'm in Spain at the moment, and so that's a bit stressful. And it's been like this for 3 years now. And with my brand, Green Planet Cosmetics, I, like the main focus was always, was products. So I would make, handmade soaps, like very beautiful and healthy skincare products, and hair care products as well, but just very sane, very minimalistic, very luxurious. But, especially for travelers like me, because I hate this unnecessary stuff. I have not time to waste for this kind of shit. I just want 1 or 2, 3, max 3 products that do their job and that are awesome and that make my skin look beautiful and glowing, so I don't even have to do anything to it if I don't want to, or I forget, or I'm in and out of the ocean whenever I can, and I have no time to check my mascara and my skin, and but I don't go to the skin without makeup. Fuck no, I have no time for that shit. So that is why I started creating my own products over 10 years ago, and then it developed into this brand. I'm going to share this story as well. So yeah, that happened down in South Africa. Also more of an accident, really. But I'm going to cover that as well, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, just to get back to the travel aspect. So if you do, if you are in a situation that is kind of like, oh man, I'm so unhappy, how can I get out of here? Just to, get back to the starting point. It really helps me to step back and look at the bigger picture. So maybe you are not the traveler type. I still advise you to find either you are the meditation type, what I'm hopefully now becoming as well, or, because you need the clearance, you need calmness, stillness. And it helps me to in reality, and not just in my mind, but with my whole body, I need to step away. And I have to be in a safe spot where I feel safe, where I feel where the environment is my cup of tea. For me, it's usually a beach and mountains and blue sky and sun. That really helps me in my mood. And and then from that point, I can really be okay, I'm just getting away from everyone, also from the situation, and I just look at it with a calm and clear mind, and my emotion under control. And then I just look at it again. Also, for me, it's like a blank page. So you literally get a new chapter, a blank page. You just get to fill. And the beauty about it, at least for me, that's how I'm just reporting back from, what it's like for me. For me, it feels like, hey, I have this opportunity to really be sitting there daydreaming, hey, who am I? Who am I right now? Not who was Maria 10 years ago. Who was I in Germany? Who am I right now? And where do I want to be? If I had all the time and all the money in the world, would I be in the same situation? If I could just quit my job now, the typical 9-to-5 job, I never really had those, I had it once. I would never go back there. So yeah, most people, they're kind of held back because that's all they always, they ever knew. So they don't dare to, and if the fear, they are stopped by fear. So instead of just being amongst other people who are very fearful and trying to hold you back, I always recommend to step away a little. And you don't have to go, cross countries. I don't know. I like to do it. But you don't have to do that. You can just literally book yourself into a nice cottage somewhere, or just find a still place. And that's what I mean. If you're into meditation, if you're good with that, if you can control your mind like that, it's beautiful. That is enough already. Do that and just really calm down and ask yourself, without anyone else around, without anyone else who's but that's new. Why do you do that? But you've never done this, but you always said that, it doesn't really matter. And that's again, when I go half across the world, no one knows me. No one knows me and no one really cares about me. How wonderful is that? I can just 100% focus on myself. And I have this blank page I get to fill. And I also just sometimes love to let myself go for a while. Where does life take me? What people do I meet? And then also, once you are a bit calmed down, you also realize what it is that you actually need, And it's usually, at least again, my experience, it's usually less than you believe. I don't need as much material stuff that I thought I wanted and needed. Quite the opposite. When I travel now for 6 months, I have a little rucksack, and that is it, you guys. And that's what I mean. I don't get too attached. I love beautiful things, of course, but I don't need them. It's a bonus if I get to have them, or now and then treat myself. Yeah, that's awesome. It's beautiful, but I don't need it. So, just to find out what it actually is that you need. And then suddenly, for me, again, speaking about Cape Town earlier. So when I went to Cape Town, that was also more of an accident because I was actually planning on going to Australia. I, however, ended up in South Africa, and that completely changed my life. Really, it did. And when I came there, I was on a breaking point. My body, mind, and soul were broken completely. I came from London, so that was forwarded a few years, and I was really I was in a very, very dark space and didn't want to get up in the morning anymore because I was exhausted and just completely, numb. That's all I can say. I was numb. I didn't feel anything, no pain, no joy, no excitement, no nothing. It was very, very sad. Like that was, I never want to feel that way again. And 12 hours in Cape Town. And what can I say? I felt like my teenage self again. Oh my gosh, like Cape Town, damn. I mean, this country brings out the best in me. Berlin the worst and Cape Town the best. And honestly, I found like a huge missing piece. I didn't even know I was missing. I felt like that cannot be it. I always had that feeling, but I didn't know what it was. I didn't even have an idea what it was. Maybe it was just a fucking idea in my head and I was crazy like everyone said. But yeah, going there and just letting life literally guide me there, because that all happened by accident, you guys. I didn't even know where I'm gonna stay. I didn't know anyone there. I was really at a point where I said, fuck you, and I just booked my flight and here we go. My life changed forever. So yeah, sometimes you just really have to do it. But again, I arrived there and people said there was like some get together. Because a friend of a friend of a friend then ended up taking me in. And it was such a beautiful stay. And one girl there said, in Cape Town, shit, I can't get that, the way she said it, I don't know, but it was more or less, it was something about like, Cape Town really brings out the best, like here I can be the best version of myself. And I stood there and I was, that was like 2 hours into my stay in Cape Town. So I really just arrived and just said hello. And then, I heard that and I was like, oh, Jesus. Okay. Okay. So I don't know, because some people, coming from London and then, this hippy dippy wasn't really my scene at all. I was just like, geez, okay, great. And like 4 weeks in, I was like, if someone asked me, I would be like exactly like what she fucking said. Over here, I'm the best version of myself. And I'm like, oh, Jesus. Yeah, I judged too soon. Shame on me. Oops. These girls were totally right. And I 1000% agree for me as well. I really, really also feel like it brings out the best in me. So I just, sorry, man, I'm just a little storyteller, but you will notice that more often. But just to give you an idea, to really take you to these places, and it doesn't matter that you don't have a plan, that you don't have the biggest bank account and what, everyone is at some point in their lives where they're like, fuck that shit. But then what do? And you can just go and rush into the next job, or like be at home and don't work anymore at all and start hating everyone in the world. But then in the end, damn, you owe yourself that. You owe yourself to be the best version of yourself. And you can do it, man. Really, if I can, you can. It's, so I'm so excited to share all this. But again, so many people, are at this point and they always come, but how do you know what to do? And I'm like, listen, I don't really know. It is, again, a feeling and I kind of follow it. And if I have the urge to go elsewhere, if my body tells me exactly what to do, I just learned very young to follow it, to trust it, because I always had to trust myself. Oh, sorry, that was me like hitting the table, making a point. So yes, and that is a beautiful experience. And that is also why I encourage you. It doesn't matter how old you are. So don't give me, but I'm too old crap. No, you are not. Don't go though, because you are this Instagrammer in the wild, taking beautiful pictures, hashtagging the shit out of everything. No, that's not it. So go to places, or don't even plan it. Like really, sometimes it's just, okay, goodbye, see you later, or not. And totally let yourself go. And you will be surprised what you learn about yourself. And, you will probably discover or rediscover little bits of you that you totally forgot or that you didn't even know you had. And you can just take it from there. And what I always do, like I journal a lot. So I write everything down. I love that. I love having lists. I have lists of everything. Pro, cons of everything. I love my lists. So, but I also love to just write down ideas. So, that's what I do. And then I have it close on me. So I have at least right now, I have like 3 journals going in different sizes in sizes. So one is always in my bag, one is always stationary at home, and one is always flying around somewhere. And I write it down, and then I just sit with it. Just an idea. So when people ask me, how do you do and how do you know? I don't know. It is a feeling. I'm listening, I'm feeling it. And when it feels good, when it gives me goosebumps, just thinking about it, oh, hell yeah, that deserves a spot in my journal. And then it's, just there. And then sometimes I have little notes as well, like little like post-it notes and stuff. I put that next to my laptop or on the desk. And then every morning I look at it without judging it, without nothing. I just look at it. Oh, okay. Let it process. Let it process. No one expects you to have the answer immediately. And then at some point, I just, one day I would get up and I just, know exactly what to do with this idea I had. And whether I don't know, maybe I leave it behind and I say, you know what, I actually don't want to do that. Good that I thought about it. Or I say, hey, like the podcast here, I knew that I'm going to have and start a podcast. This idea sits with me for like 3 years now. Or 3 or 4 years. And now I'm just doing it. Am I ready? Do I have an idea? Any clue what I'm doing here? No idea. And I'm still trying to figure out the tech stuff with the mic and shit. What am I doing? I don't know. But listen, I do want to give you some hope, and I do, I want to give you some of my stories because I know when I tell stories, when I go places or go back to Germany, it's like, oh my God, tell me a story. I'm like, oh, I love, and then they're like, no. I'm like, yeah. So, and it's just sometimes, and then they tell me in private, my friends or like people I just met, I'm like, oh man, I always wanted to do that, but now I have this, and now I have a house and my job and my husband, and it doesn't mean you cannot do it. And what I just recently said to a customer or to a client, we were on a one-on-one conversation, and she was also like, oh, if I had the money, I would do this. And I know exactly. And I thought about that. And I was totally calculating it. And I was actually, she was already on the way to the bank and was like, no, I'm not going to apply for a loan because I can't afford it anyway. And who's going to give me this? And I was like, no, that's wrong. And the good thing is she can tell me because she knows I have the craziest ideas and I'm not afraid to share them, And that's why I said to her, listen, if it's too hard to say it out loud just now, write it down. Ask yourself that. You don't even have to write it down. If you hate writing, then don't. Then just think it in your head and see how that feels. And then let yourself dream. Like, reach for the stars, you guys. Really. And I said to her, like, okay, now your homework is, you open yourself a bottle of wine and you sit outside on the balcony and you just contemplate what we talked about. And if you have, I'm going to repeat this, if you have all the money in the world and you are safe and you have all the time in the world, what would you be doing right now? Write that shit down. Write it down. And then you don't have to do anything with it. Just let it sit there. And then you can hide it somewhere. You can hang it up on the fridge. And then just see what happens. See what happens when you allow yourself to just dream big and just, get it out there. So that's what I do. But you have to be real, you have to be real with yourself, and you also have to be willing to put in the work. Yes. And I can tell you, as much as I love it, and I love it, it is painful. And it hurts and you want to cry, and it's just sometimes really you're like, fuck everyone, what's wrong with you all? And then what's wrong with me especially? Like, why can I not be like this normal person doing this 9 to 5 and be happy with it? Why do I have to want more, I don't know, maybe that's why life, made you you. You have that very special thing, and that is why you owe it to yourself. Yes, you do. Go and follow your dream and do not worry about competition. A little bit of like a healthy competition is good. You need that, hey, to stay on top of the game. You need that. That's motivating. That's a good thing. But don't do it because you're afraid of some other competition. No, if you are made for it, you are made for it because you are naturally good at it. And you will attract people who, want honest, like an honest product, an honest service whatsoever. So if that's what's holding you back, don't let that go. Really, let it go. Yeah, and other than that, I really like, again, I can only encourage you to really, if you have ever, wanted to go traveling, do it. Do it, do it, do it. It's amazing. It also helped me to become this better person, as in understanding. No, it helped me to be more understanding, because some people are in just different situations, and especially traveling to like very poor countries makes it very, very clear. And I never thought, like, I'm not coming from a rich family. I'm not, I have no inheritance. There is nothing really. So, but my parents still, they did a great job in, such like hardworking people, like working class, and very honest, and very loyal, strong people. Mama, Papa, you did a good job. But we were very spoiled in a way that, we always had electricity, always running warm water. We grew up in a very nice house. And I don't know, for me, it was always, only the rich people, the rich folks had a swimming pool. So, we weren't rich because we didn't have a swimming pool. I mean, that is the crazy mindset of a teenager, right? Very spoiled one. So even though we were not rich, but still, we had all the necessities every day available, or like running around in a safe neighborhood. For me, the most normal thing you can do, walking around, at any time of the day, cycling around, as little kids, we were just literally bye, and then, returned 8 hours later, and that was fine and normal and totally safe. And then going to these other countries where it was not normal. I mean, it wasn't even normal that you had running water, yet alone warm water. So, and realizing that, it's like, damn, shit, hey? Now I understand what my mom was trying to teach us, don't waste the water and be a bit more resourceful and what. So yeah, really, these experiences, I needed to see it. And now I'm so grateful. Again, I really got to say goodbye to all the material stuff I thought I needed. Again, yes, it comes in handy, like having a laptop and a mic. I mean, whoa, how fucking spoiled is that? I can actually, record this podcast right now, which, then hopefully also helps me to, expand my business. And then meeting these people who are struggling to just get food on the table every day. So yeah, it definitely helped me to, kind of baseline a little bit and be grateful for what I have. Also, I really, really started to like certain things in Germany as well, or London or Europe in general, stuff I took for granted. And suddenly it's like, what do you mean I can't take out my cell phone and just call someone on the street? No, dude, because you might die for it. And stuff like that. It's just, and that's what I mean. You really have to be awake. You cannot just, sleepwalk through the streets on autopilot in South Africa. That's very dangerous. And also in South Africa, a lot of stuff went down in South Africa. You will hear all about it. Maybe not all, but a lot. And, I really had to learn to trust my instincts. So if I had a bad feeling, because I like running, let's say that example, I like running in the mountains. And I, sometimes I couldn't wait for other people to join, so I'm just going to go and run by myself. Sometimes though, for some reason, I was getting ready already, on the road, and I had this really bad feeling. I don't know. It doesn't feel right. No, I don't know. It's just something's up. It doesn't feel right. And I was like, what, today is not the day to do that. So, I turned back and I just really learned to trust my instincts. And then, you hear stories because my friends, they knew that I'm running there as well. And they were like, hey, the other day people got mugged there and he was stabbed with a knife. And I'm like, oh, who knows? Maybe that was one of the days where I had that feeling, But on the other hand, because they also, they are trying to, protect me and stuff. And they gave me a very good brief. They were locals. I know, I'm aware. But again, if I have a good feeling and if the mountain is calling, I'm going for a run. That's what I do. But again, I learned to really trust my instincts and my inner calling, my voice. I don't know what it is. Call it what you want. So yeah, just I wanted to share that with you. And I'm very excited to share more insights as well, and a little bit more specific on the job side. And let me know if you have a question in a specific direction. But I'm very excited to share it with you all, and I hope it gives you some idea and also motivates you to write your own book. A new chapter, a blank page. Okay, it's time now. It's time now to wrap it up. So a blank chapter where you just get to write your very own journey. Man, what do you want in the next 5 years? What do you want in the next 2 months? Write your own journey, man. Do it. It's awesome and it's so much fun. And you can always go back. So I just said it in the other episode on YouTube, because that seems to be a big one for most people as well. Yeah, but if it doesn't, well, then you come back. That's it. You just continue your life here. That's not going anywhere. You can always go back. But trust me, most people, they don't want to go back. They just continue because, they like it too. But yeah, you tell me. All right then. I will check in with you in the next episode. Thanks so much for joining. Have a good one. Ciao.